It's South Florida. It's hot. It's sweaty. A lot of sun. Almost midday. So you know what that means. It's time for infrared photography. So I've come out to the local park that I've been out to a few times with my infrared camera. A lot of people walk and jog in here. Sometimes they'll see me with this camera and pointing at a tree. Like there's a jogger going by right now and he's giving me the stare. And they think that I'm taking pictures of them or taking videos of them. So you get a little uneasy sometimes, but it's a good place for infrared, I think. There's a tree that I like and I can't quite find it, which is kind of odd. I've taken a picture of it a few different times. And it was always, I thought, right near a parking lot where I parked my car, but I don't see it. And so sometimes people talk about going back to the same locations, or should you shoot the iconic shot? Now this tree's not an iconic shot. So my advice is, if you can get a shot of something, take it. This little tree here, I've tried to shoot it a number of times. Sometimes the light hits it and it just really brightens it up. Really nice for infrared, but there's always clutter in the background. I've never been able really to find the composition that I like when the light is hitting it just the way I want it to. But I keep coming back and trying. One general photography tip that people mention from time to time, but it's important. It's always turn around and look and see what's behind you. Sometimes you're coming up on a subject, you don't see it until you're beyond it, and then you turn around and there it is. So always turn around every so often. And the other thing about photography, obviously you have to learn how to see. You have to learn how to compose your subjects. You have to learn to see what the light is doing. It's a lot of variables in learning to see. And I find with infrared, there's another layer, I guess, attached to that. And that is to be able to visualize something in a different way. Yes, close to that airport, and there's always somebody going up or down. But anyway, you have to learn how to see in infrared. The other thing I wanted to mention was, I know I've done a couple videos on it, but I'm using a converted camera with the Nikon F.18 S lens. I've got a Z50, a converted camera. And I find that the 50mm is the best infrared lens that I've found for the Nikon Z system. The 35mm is pretty good as well, but I find this 50 is just really hard to beat when it comes to infrared. Another way to go about it is to use the Hoya filter, which works. It definitely works if you want to do infrared and you don't have to convert your camera. You just get one of the Hoya filters. The drawback of it is, it's like putting a 6-stop or a 10-stop filter over top of your camera, and you have to really use slow shutter speed. So if there's a wind blowing and you're shooting trees, it's hard to freeze the action. Today there's not much wind, so it wouldn't be as big a problem. I even thought about putting a 10-stop filter on it and trying that out here, but the clouds aren't moving all that much, so I don't know how much effect it would really have. But if you're interested in even starting with infrared, just try the filter first. They're not expensive. You could probably find one for $100 and try it out and see if you like infrared. And then if you want to take it further, then you get a converted camera or buy a used camera and get it converted. I don't know. There are companies that you can buy the cameras that are already converted that seem to do a good job. But it's definitely a different experience. It puts me in a different frame of mind when I come out here shooting infrared, as opposed to walking around and shooting birds. It just makes me, it's hard to explain, but it makes me think differently. It makes me look even slightly different than if I was just out shooting landscapes, or definitely different than shooting birds. I try to isolate different subjects a lot more. And of course, you want the greens so that you can convert it. They look best with the infrared most times. So just some thoughts about it.